Tears and applause, Jungkook's return shakes the world of K-pop. Hello ARMY. What happens when the world of K-pop falls silent? What happens when the voice that used to accompany us suddenly disappears? And what will you feel when that voice returns, bearing unseen wounds, yet carrying something so deep? That night wasn't just a concert. It was history. An emotional event that shook not only a stadium, but millions of hearts around the world. Jungkook, the long-awaited figure, finally stood on stage. And in an instant, all longing turned into tears. And thunderous applause that wouldn't stop. A temporary loss that left a permanent void. When Jungkook began his military service, the world of K-pop lost its light. He wasn't just a singer. He was a symbol. The golden magne, who, since his teenage years, had become an emotional foundation for millions of armies. His departure felt like a long winter. No new fan cams. No cheerful live broadcasts. No soft voice singing, still with you late at night. But the hardest part was not knowing when he'd return. And more importantly, would he return as the same Jungkook? Or had he changed, hardened by the military? Signs before the storm. Months before BTS FESTA 2025, something strange began to stir. Whispers of someone seen in the practice room, a silhouette behind studio glass, and even a deep voice resembling Jungkook in a teaser. ARMY started analyzing everything. Haircuts, footwork, even breathing sounds. Speculations ran wild. Jungkook is coming back. But some fans were afraid to hope. Too many disappointments, while he was gone. Then came the official poster. A single shadow, standing alone in the dark. No name. No caption. But ARMY knew. That was Jungkook. A stage that whispered longing. The day arrived. The stadium was full. But something was different. The atmosphere was charged with raw emotion, a mix of anxiety, hope, and fragile belief. The lights dimmed. Music began to play. And a single spotlight hit the center of the stage. He stood there, wearing a modest stage outfit. Not flashy. Not extravagant. But real. Grounded. And full of stories. A performance that broke down walls. He sang, "Still with You." But this time, it wasn't just a song. It was a love letter. A silent apology. And a deep scream that had long been buried. Every note felt like a long overdue embrace. Every movement of his hand whispered, "I'm sorry I was gone. But I came back for you." His slow-motion dance wasn't just choreography. It was a wordless story of a man who endured the harshness of military life, and chose to return not as a superstar, but as a human being. A performance that broke down walls. He sang, "Still with You." But this time, it wasn't just a song. It was a love letter. A silent apology. And a deep scream that had long been buried. Every note felt like a long overdue embrace. Every movement of his hand whispered, "I'm sorry I was gone. But I came back for you." His slow-motion dance wasn't just choreography. It was a wordless story of a man who endured the harshness of military life, and chose to return not as a superstar, but as a human being. That single tear fell, and the world stood still. At the end of the song, he said nothing. He simply closed his eyes. And in a moment of utter stillness, one tear fell down his cheek. The camera caught it. The spotlight couldn't hide it. And the world stood still. No one could hold back their emotions. Fans cried. BTS members backstage wept. Armies watching from screens sobbed. Applause erupted. And for the first time in BTS concert history, The applause lasted more than 5 minutes non-stop. That single tear fell, and the world stood still. At the end of the song, he said nothing. He simply closed his eyes. And in a moment of utter stillness, one tear fell down his cheek. The camera caught it. The spotlight couldn't hide it. And the world stood still. No one could hold back their emotions. Fans cried. BTS members backstage wept. Armies watching from screens sobbed. Applause erupted. And for the first time in BTS concert history, the applause lasted more than 5 minutes non-stop. One sentence that shook the world. Jungkook finally picked up the mic. His voice trembled. But it was firm. I wasn't sure if I still deserved to be here. But you made me believe again. Thank you for not forgetting me. And just like that, there was no need for more words. Because every heart that heard him already knew how heavy his journey had been. The world responds, a wave of emotion. After that moment, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and global media were flooded with one name, Jungkook. Trending #1 in over 80 countries. The performance clip hit 30 million views in just 24 hours. CNN, BBC, and the New York Times wrote headlines. A comeback that brought the world to tears. A performance that transcended language, borders, and time. Even idols from other groups showed their support. That performance reminded me why I wanted to become a singer. Jungkook's stage was not a comeback. It was a resurrection. A reflection. What does Jungkook mean to the world? Jungkook is more than an idol. He is a symbol of hope, resilience, and humility. He didn't return with a grand entrance or fireworks. He came back with scars, with tears, and with a love that never faded. And maybe that's why we all fell for him again. Not because he's perfect, but because he's human, brave enough to stand again, even when the world had changed. Thank you for staying with us through this tearful journey. If you too felt your heart tremble when Jungkook returned to the stage, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Comment below. What does Jungkook mean to you? And how did this moment change your view of what a true idol is? Because one thing is for sure. When tears and applause become one, that's when a legend is born again. His name is Jungkook. Thank you for staying with us through this tearful journey. If you too felt your heart tremble when Jungkook returned to the stage, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Comment below. What does Jungkook mean to you? And how did this moment change your view of what a true idol is? Because one thing is for sure. When tears and applause become one, that's when a legend is born again. His name is Jungkook.